So I'm going to start this video with a bit of a tough truth, and that is that over 90% of all prop firm traders will never even see a payout. Only about 5 to 10% of traders will actually pass the evaluation and make it to a funded account. And then of those, only about 20% will actually make it to request a payout. The reason I say request is because I'm not even talking about denial. So 20% of the people that get through will make it to the point where they can ask for a payout. This is pretty brutal, but this doesn't have to be your story. Here at Blue Edge, we've honed a system that consistently gets traders funded and, more importantly, gets them paid. So if you're in the prop firm game to make money, then make sure you're sticking around for this one. All right, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about some eye-opening stats when it comes to prop firm trading. Then I'll go on to talking about some of the biggest mistakes prop firm traders are making. Then I'll be talking about what an edge is and what it truly means. And then I'll be getting into the nitty-gritty and talking about our system and why it works so well. And then I'll be talking about the one hurdle, the only hurdle that this system possibly has, and how here at Blue Edge Financial, we are not only clearing that hurdle, we are smashing through that hurdle, and it is never holding us back. And then finally, I'm going to be giving you guys an incredible bonus of a real life success story of someone in our community that shows the true power of this system. And trust me, you don't want to miss that. Right, so before I jump in, why listen to me? Well, I've been trading for well over 8 years, and about half of that I've spent trading specifically with prop firms. And here at Blue Edge Financial, our system has helped over 1,500 of our members get funded with prop firms and also consistently get paid. So we've collected all the data and we know exactly what we're talking about when it comes to prop firms. So with that being said, let's dive straight in. First of all, let's have a look at some of the stats that really matter when it comes to prop firm trading. Like I said, the pass rates are pretty small. Often fewer than 10% of traders are actually making it to a funded account. And like I said, of those 10%, you're looking at about 20% that'll actually get to that first payout. So it's very, very small numbers that are actually getting to the payout stage. And why does this matter? It matters because of everything else I'm going to be talking about in this video. Like the next thing where we're talking about some of the biggest mistakes that prop firm traders make. Now, there's many reasons that prop traders will fail, but I'm going to give you my top 3 reasons that I think prop traders are failing prop firm challenges. Number 1 is risk management. Many traders will come in and they will risk way too much on these challenges because they think that they can gamble their way to getting a funded account. But this will get them more fails than it'll ever get them passes. Even though they might get lucky and pass the odd one, this is not sustainable. I recently saw a very interesting stat on an article by Quant VPS, which says that if you are sticking to 2% or less per trade, then you are 40% more likely to pass a challenge than those who risk more. And the next one is having no real plan of action when it comes to trading prop firms. And that means not really knowing how much you're willing to spend on this journey, not really having an idea of what it is you're going into, not understanding the rules properly, not making sure that you know exactly how you will react if you lose a trade in a day, not having a plan of action, and essentially going in blind to these prop firms and just thinking, I'll just see how things go. You need to have a plan and you need to follow that plan. And then finally, one of the biggest things I want to talk about is traders not having an edge. They come in to trade prop firms without an edge. And what do I mean by an edge? It means that your system or your strategy has already been tested, has already gone through the back testing, gone through the forward testing, and you know that your strategy or your system has an edge on the market. That means if you play it out for long enough, it will always end out on top. It means that you will always eventually get more money out than you put in. That is what an edge is. And a lot of people are coming into these prop firm challenges without an edge and often will be switching systems or strategy mid-challenge. And this is a sure way to fail these challenges. With that being said, I want to talk more about an edge. What is an edge and what does it really mean? So like I said, an edge is a strategy or a system that over time you will be on top of the market. It means that you will eventually take out more money from the market than you put in. And how do you find an edge? An edge is by finding a strategy or a system, back testing it. I would say you need to back test it at least 1 to 3 years. So you get up to 3 years worth of back tested data, test your system, test your strategy on that. And if it has an edge, on the market on that back test, then you forward test it. And I would say you want to be forward testing it at least 3 months. And that means open up a demo account, trade the system or the strategy on live data. And if you are getting similar results from your back test, then you can say, I'm ready to now take this to the live market because this system or this strategy has proven to have an edge. And this is very important. The word proven. You have to have a proven edge, guys. So you've got to make sure when you are coming into this system, which I'm going to be talking about now, you've got to have a system that has a proven edge. So this leads me on to the whole point of this video, guys. This system, our system, and why it works so well. So let's start by the core approach of our system. The whole approach of this system is finding a system or a strategy that has an edge. Number one. Then you're coming to the prop firm challenges. Then you're not going to just be starting this with one. You will eventually see success with one, but our system says that you take as many prop firm challenges as you possibly can, and you diversify this across as many prop firm companies as you possibly can, and make sure you're sticking to the reputable and the good prop firm companies, so you're not going to be disappointed, right? And that's it. That's as simple as the system gets. Now, we are going to dive in a little bit deeper, and we're going to be talking about this more, but why does this work so well? Because number one, if you are taking multiple accounts, you are mitigating your risk. What does that mean? You're spreading your risk across as many accounts as you can possibly do. And this is also where it's very important to mention that you have a plan. And that plan should be, how much do you have to spend on the system? And with that, how many prop firm challenges can you buy into? Now, if you can only afford to buy into 2 or 3 100K accounts with your initial investment, then you want to be cutting down to be looking at taking maybe 10 or 25K accounts. Don't ever say, I'm going to increase my investment because I want to take more. No, decrease the size of your account so that you can take more. Stick to the set number, and that way you have a plan of action. You know what you're doing, right? So the first reason, like I said, is you're spreading that risk across as many prop firms as you can, because that means no matter what happens, you can be taking 4 or 5 different prop firm accounts at the same time. One could be failing, the next one could fail later. You've replaced the one that failed with a new one. So there's always 5 running at a time. You're going to get to a point where you are seeing some action, you're seeing some progress quicker than if you were just using one, right? Which leads me to my next reason is more opportunity, right? You are now giving yourself more opportunity because you know you have a system that has an edge, and now you're allowing that edge to play out multiple times simultaneously. Because if you're taking one prop firm challenge, you might fail it, you'll have to start it again, because you know you might go through 3 or 4 fails before you see that first pass. Because ultimately, like I said, you've got a system that has an edge. That edge might take 3 or 4 challenges to play out. But now if you spread that across 4 or 5 different challenges at the same time, you're now giving that edge way more opportunity to play out, right? And that's the key. That's the most important thing. And then what ends up happening, this opportunity leads to you getting to a funded account way quicker, which leads to you potentially getting your first payout way quicker, which then you can start reinvesting. And now you can start looking and saying, okay, I'm going to go from 5 accounts to 8 accounts to 10 accounts. And you just get this ball rolling of as many accounts as you possibly can. I want to make it very clear now, guys. I am not saying spend as much money as you possibly can on as many accounts as you can. I want to make it very clear. You've got to have a set number in your mind before you start. $2,000, is that all you're willing to spend? Then make sure you're dropping the size of your account. Reduce the size of the account so it's going to cost you less, and you will still be able to build your way up. Trust me, if you have a system that has an edge, you're going to see how quickly this ball can start rolling. And that leads me to the next one, which is steady cash flow. You will start to see as you're hitting that first funded account, you're getting a payout. You maybe, 2 weeks in after that, you've taken your first payout, maybe looking at getting your second payout. Now you've got another funded account that's kicking in, starting to give you payouts. Yes, maybe you lose this funded account. We don't care. The cool thing is we don't care if we lose funded accounts with this system, because you've now got this conveyor belt that is constantly moving. You will see how this ball can start rolling. You will start having, certain times where you have a lot of payouts. You'll have some times it'll be a little bit quieter, but in general, you're going to see a much better cash flow. And once you get to the 10, 12, 15, 20 running accounts at a time, trust me, that is possible. And I'm going to be talking about that later. You will start to see how this cash flow becomes so consistent, guys. And then your only problem is making sure that you're not getting too greedy and you're sticking to a maybe 1 to 2% profit target, so that when you're asking these prop firms for these payouts, that they're going to give them to you. You want to stay under the radar. trader, because that's how quickly you'll start moving. So that's your biggest problem, is just to make sure that these guys pay. But even if they don't, it doesn't matter. You replace it with another prop firm. There's always going to be new prop firms that you can replace. And that's the cool thing about the system. Even if a prop firm goes up in smoke, replace it with the next one. So with that being said, that is the whole gist of the system. And you've seen me talk about it before. If you haven't watched that video where I actually talk about the conveyor belt system, I actually go into more detail about this, how this system works. Now, this leads me to the only hurdle that you will have running this system, and that is actually being able to run multiple accounts, right? So I'm going to give you some tips on how you can potentially run multiple accounts, and then I'll be talking about how our system is running multiple accounts with ease. So you can bring in trade copiers. You can use trade copiers on multiple different prop firm companies. You don't want to be using them on 2 accounts from the exact same company, because then they can, flag you for copying. Unless they allow it, just check, do they allow you copying across multiple accounts? And if they do, that's fine. You can do that. You're taking your main trade, whatever your system, whatever your strategy, on one account, and it's copying amongst all the rest, right? You have got to make sure you're managing it and making sure that every single one is taking the trades. And then you've also got to make sure when you're closing the trades, they are closed across. Don't just expect that if you close it, it's closed on everything, right? Because you could potentially lose more, or you could potentially lose a trade that is winning, could end up becoming a loser, right? So make sure you're managing it. But it does take a little bit of ease off you, but you've still got to manage it. The next tip I would give is to stay organized, guys. Make sure you're putting everything on spreadsheets. Put it on a spreadsheet in a way that you can follow everything you're doing. Make sure you have it all in a beautifully laid out spreadsheet so that you can follow exactly what your progress is. Because the second you start losing track of what's going on, you're going to start stressing yourself out, and then it kind of defeats the whole point of this, right? You don't want to be stressed. You want to be just trading this like a well-oiled machine and just reaping the benefits. Then the other thing I want to talk about is make sure you are setting aside a budget for some of these tools, right? Whatever it is, make sure you have some idea of how much these tools are going to cost, and then set that money aside and make sure you are putting that into your initial plan as part of your budget, your initial budget. Very important, guys. And then what you want to do is you want to start scaling gradually. Like I said before, guys, if you can't afford to go in with 500K accounts, then make sure you're dropping down. Now, once this system starts running, it will start to give you enough payouts and money that you can start upgrading to the next size up. And slowly, before you know it, you're running 500K, and then you can start looking at getting to 10 100K, So it's just gradually building your way up. Now, this leads me to how we are doing it, guys. We're doing everything we're talking about there, but we have it all automated. So we have an EA, an expert advisor, that is taking all of our trades for us, and we have multiple different strategies. So we're not copying each other. There's no worry about copy trading. Each trader in our community is selecting a strategy. It's unique to them. And what this means is you can essentially just put one strategy on one of your accounts, and then you can put another strategy on another account. We have so many strategies that we can essentially run different strategies on different accounts. So our system is running all of that for you. And then we are also giving our clients and our community an incredible spreadsheet. So essentially all it is that you have to do if you are in our community is just make sure you're filling in the details and tracking it all on a spreadsheet that is easily laid out. And that's it. You're looking at maybe 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours, depending on how many accounts you're running, to just make sure you're just putting in the data. Because once you're tracking all the data and you're following it, that's it. You just watch the numbers tick over, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Like I've said, guys, we have got over 1,500 members in our community funded using this exact system, right? So we've got the edge. That is how our edge plays out. Like I said in the beginning, guys, the actual number of people that are getting funded is around 5 to 10%, right? To put this into perspective, our system has around a 25 to 30% funded rate. So we are almost double the standard, just to put that into perspective. And this is running automated. And this leads me to talking about Josh's story, because he is running this to the max. So Josh used to be a client of Blue Edge, running the system and doing phenomenally well. So well, in fact, that he became a success coach for Blue Edge Financial. And he did so well that he is now the success coach manager. And if you are in our community, you are seeing how Josh is killing it. But to put into perspective, right, beginning of this year, Josh decided to really kind of put this system to the test. And he went in with as many challenges as he possibly can. And I think he started off with running about 10 to 15 challenges at a time, or accounts at a time. He's now built that up to, I think he's well over 20 accounts at a time. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Josh is looking at potentially close to 2 million in active funding, which is just phenomenal. Now, recently, Josh had a 2-month period where in the 2 months, he got almost $100,000 $1,000 in payouts, guys. One of his months, I think he hit about a 54K month, right? And this just shows that if you are just letting the system go and every time you're making money, you're extending the number of challenges you can take at a time, this system will just keep growing. And Josh is perfect proof of that. He's taken the system and he's really shown what it is capable of. I mean, if you're looking at making 50K months, I mean, you're not going to complain about that. So Josh, well done. You have killed it, my friend. That's it for the video, guys. That is the system we use. It is such an incredible system. And like I said, if you have got a system that has an edge, a strategy that has an edge, then this is what you want to do. You want to be running as many as you can, as long as you can manage it. Now, if you are someone that is very busy and you can't manage it, then this system at Blue Edge Financial and our EA and everything we are doing is your solution. And if you want to get some more information, just go to www.propfarming.com. Have a look at the demo video there. All the information is there. So please, guys, if you like the video, just hit that like button for me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, join the community. And yeah, with that being said, guys, that's all from me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.